Good morning. What a glorious morning. I might have miscalculated a little bit where the sun was rising. I thought it was rising a little bit more towards the south there, or rather, I miscalculated the angle of the view. I'm gonna try to get an image here. The sun is just rising right now, and the clock is 4:35 in the morning. Looks beautiful. Let's get going. So what we're having right now is lovely early morning pink hues in the sky, and we have lots of late spring, late spring colors. So still a lighter green tones in the leaf trees than there are in the evergreen trees, and that is creating lots of contrast and interest out over the landscape. The difficult part in this location is that I have a lot of trees here in the foreground, but I still want to incorporate some of it, I think, because that is part of the location. And then I have that lovely hill in the mid background there, and then the background behind that hill is Lake Vänern. Luckily for me, it's a pretty calm morning. I don't want to include any of the rocky foregrounds that we have here. That is just gonna overcomplicate the scene. But instead I'm gonna use these closer leaf trees here as a foreground, basically. I'm gonna try to do something like that. So the sun is just starting to poke through the clouds right there now, and I'm getting some lovely morning light on the foreground trees here, as well as we have some light that is spilling out on the background. In a sense, the light is more beautiful than the scene in this case. But I framed up a composition here that is kind of a 50-50 split between foreground and background. Let me show you the composition here. As you can see, the composition itself, it's equally about the sky, since it's very beautiful, as it is about the foreground. And I'm not balancing it out with a reflection that's usually what is recommended when doing 50-50 splits, but I'm balancing it out in the equal interest in both. And it might be a little bit jumpy in what I'm telling the viewer what to look at, but in the same sense I'm telling the viewer that both are important, and you can choose where to start yourself and then wander through the rest of the image at your own pace. But the main interest, or the main anchor point of the image, is that hill in the background there, and it being framed by the trees that we have here in the foreground. So that's really the most important thing. It isn't really a super complex composition, but it's just something making use of the conditions that I'm having right now and the location that I'm at. The light is just so soft. It's really actually difficult to see what is happening in a sense. So I think this fleeting moment that we had is passing right now. So I'm probably gonna pack down and start to head in towards the forest and try to find some woodland composition instead. The sun is rising up into a bigger cloud, so I'm not gonna have much company from the sun for a while at least. Yeah, I'm glad that I hurried up here so I could grab this scene. I've never photographed this particular location at sunrise before. Only been here later in the day, since I've usually started at another location further over there. I'll show you some of the images from over there. It's a better location most times of the year, and it's actually more interesting with the foreground and the way it works, but I'm really happy that I got up here today to try this. Yeah, a lovely morning. I had this lovely bird song. Means that summer is really almost upon us. Yeah, well, let's pack up and head towards another location. If you're having trouble finding woodland compositions, the best tip that I can give you is to hike more. Just hike in the woods for long periods of time. Don't have any cameras out or anything like that. Just look at your surroundings. Hike slowly, look a lot. And then suddenly you'll start to see interesting trees and interesting patterns and interesting things happening inside the forest. And that interesting thing that you're finding, that is a start of a woodland composition. And then you just have to work it. And just as I'm talking to you, I see something interesting down here. Not sure if I'm going to photograph it or not. Woodland photography is really very, very time consuming. It means spending hours and hours inside the forest with no guarantee of getting anything. But it's very relaxing and quite rewarding. I'm gonna skip this interesting thing that I found here. It's simply too complex to make any good use of it. So, I've managed to find something. Not necessarily what I thought I would find, and not necessarily what I thought, the way I thought I would capture the scene either. The the way that I found this scene to begin with was that in the background of the scene we have some of this lovely these blueberry bushes among the trees, and the sun was poking through, and it was really nicely backlit and was really illuminated, and it was really lovely and nice. And I was looking through the forest trying to find something with that, and then I saw this this scene here, but in the beginning I didn't really want to include that rock there that you can see. It was mostly about these trees over there and those lovely light green colors in the background there. But when I started to frame everything up, the sun vanished kind of quickly again, sadly. And I noticed that framing it up with this rock right there and this tree on the left side here, and well, framing it up with that created more of a scene rather than a image of something interesting, right? You understand? more of a scene than a portrait of that particular area. So I really prefer photographing scenes that are a little bit more complex, that gives more of an opportunity to find new and interesting things within the composition, within the scene, for every time that you look upon the image. So I like framing it up and composing a little bit more complex than well, what's the word? A little bit more complex than the scene needs. Well, that's a matter of... So, well, a little bit more complex than... Yeah, I can't find the right word for it. Anyway, I like composing it a little bit more complex. Yeah. The only thing that I might not like all that much is that dead tree in the bottom left corner there, but I think it'll be alright anyway. It's an interesting scene. It really is, and I'm really glad that I captured it. I'm having a polarizer on here right now. Not that it's actually doing all that much. Might be deepening the greens just a little bit. So yeah, I'm really happy with what I've found here, and now it looks like it's going to start to rain pretty soon. So this might be the last image for today. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. If you want to see more, then remember to subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Check out my other videos. I have tons of videos on my channel. And yeah, until next time, goodbye.